has the right and the obligation to defend itself, and again, to try to make sure that what happened never happens again. No country, not the United States, not anyone else that I can think of, would tolerate the slaughter of its civilians. The fact that it cynically and monstrously, deliberately, has people, men, women, and children, as human shields. We will be talking about concrete steps that can and should be taken to minimize harm to men, women, and children in Gaza. And this is something that the United States is committed to. Israel has the right and the obligation to defend itself, and again, to try to make sure that what happened never happens again. No country, not the United States, not anyone else that I can think of, would tolerate the slaughter of its civilians. So we stand behind that, and we stand behind the proposition. But as democracies, the United States, Israel, other democracies, have a responsibility to do everything possible to protect civilians who may be caught in harm's way. And this, again, is a crossfire, quite literally, of Hamas's making. The fact that it cynically and monstrously, deliberately, has people, men, women, and children, as human shields, puts its command posts, puts its leadership, puts its fighters, puts its weapons, puts its munitions underneath hospitals or even inside them, schools, mosques, makes this incredibly challenging. But we have to rise to that responsibility. And so we will be talking about concrete steps that can and should be taken to minimize harm to men, women, and children in Gaza. And this is something that the United States is committed to. I'm not going to get into the details here, but it's very much on the agenda. When I see a Palestinian child, a boy, a girl, pulled from the rubble of a collapsed building, that hits me in the gut as much as seeing a child in Israel or anywhere else. So this is something that we have an obligation to respond to, and we will.
Thank you. I wonder if we could get your assessment of the current risk of the spillover in the conflict. Today, Hezbollah has said they've attacked 19 posts along Israel's border with Lebanon. The Houthis said the other day they're entering the conflict. And just secondly, while you're in the region, how do you expect to be able to get other countries in the region involved in sort of the day after plan that you're talking about, when there's rising opposition, rising protests against Israel from, we've seen Bahrain and Jordanians pull out their ambassadors?
So we are determined to prevent escalation on any of these fronts, whether it's Lebanon, northern Israel, southern Lebanon, whether it's the West Bank, whether it's anywhere else in the region. And the President's been very clear in what he said publicly. We've been very clear in what we've shared privately. We've been very clear in some of the actions we're taking, that we are determined to deter any escalation. So with our partners as well, we're making sure that that message gets through. It's not in anyone's interest for this to escalate. And I think some of the other parties involved actually recognize that. But we're going to work on that every single day.
Do you assess that that's happening, though, if these strikes already taking place? You know?
What we've seen so far are discrete attacks. We've responded as necessary, including on our forces who are in the region in Syria and Iraq, to prevent the resurgence of ISIL, which also should be in everyone's interest. And you saw the actions that we took in response to that. But as I said, we're determined to prevent escalation, to prevent the spread of this conflict, and we're taking the necessary steps to try to make sure that that happens. With regard to what comes next, again, I think, understandably, people are very focused on the day of, not just the day after. But we do have to have conversations now about how we can best set the conditions for a durable, sustainable peace, durable, sustainable security for Israelis and Palestinians alike. So I expect that those are conversations that we'll have an opportunity to pursue over the next couple of days. But this is a long-term effort, but we have to make sure that we're focused on it now.